Our third part 3 of our review, the quadratic inequalities. We are now starting with this topic. This is now how are we going to solving and graphing a certain quadratic. Now, without further ado, let's indulge with this kind of topic. A quadratic inequalities contain which of the following symbols? So pag sinabi nating symbols, we are referring to less than, greater than. Okay? Less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to, instead of an any equal sign. So, next topic is what is the first step in solving quadratic inequalities? X squared minus 4 is greater than 0. So, the first thing na dapat natin gawin if we see this kind of topic is to find the roots or the critical values. So first tells you where the expression can change sign. Okay? Next, what is the solution set of x squared minus 9 is less than 0? So dito, simple-simple lang. The roots are, syempre, if we try to move the negative and the other part, so this is positive and negative. Since the parabola opens upward, it's negative between the roots na meron tayo. Okay? Next. Solve x squared minus 5x plus 6 greater than 0. The critical values are x is equal to 2 and x is equal to 3. So what is the solution na meron tayo? The solution set. Now, given that x is equal to 2, x is equal to 3, therefore the parabola is open upward. So it's positive outside. The roots are x is less than 2 or x is greater than 3. Next, which number lines correctly shows the solution? Negative 2, x is greater than or equal to negative 2 but less than or equal to 5. So it means that pag less than or equal to means the endpoints are included, so both circle are closed and filled. Okay? Next, a garden length is x plus 3 and its width is x. The area must be greater than 20 meters squared. Which inequality mode the situation na meron tayo. Okay? So here, kung i-analyze natin tong part na to, area natin is equal to length times width and it must be greater than 20. So, ang tamang equation or inequalities is x multiply to x plus 3 greater than 20. Next. So, when graphing y is greater than x squared minus 4, okay, x squared minus 4, the boundary curve is drawn as what? Ano ba yung boundary curve natin? Take note that it's strictly inequalities. Pag greater than and less than, use the dash boundary since points of the curve are not included. So, ibig sabihin, dashes boundary ang ating gagamitin pagdating sa curve. For the inequalities, y is less than or equal to x plus 2, which point is part of the solution region. So, ibig sabihin, ano lang ba yung part lang dito ng solution region? So, simply implies that in the testing, actually, ginamit niya dito is 1 and 2, but we can actually test this one using 0 or the origin, okay? So, dito 1 and 2, we have 2 is less than or equal to 1 plus 2. So, you have here is equal to 3, it is true in real sense. Next, which point satisfy the inequality y is greater than x squared? So ano daw ang satisfy sa point na to? It means that testing 0 and 1, meaning this is 1, it should be greater than 0 squared is equal to 0 is definitely true. Okay? Next, a linear inequalities and quadratic inequalities are graphed on the same plane pala, sorry. How can you identify the region that satisfy both inequalities? So dito, simple lang. A system solution is the intersection where both shaded regions are overlap. Kasi yung isa dito is a straight line, yung isa naman dito isang parabola. It's normally, pag pinagsama natin silang dalawa, lumalabas talaga yung overlapping of region dito. Okay? Now we are now in absolute value. The absolute value of a number represent its absolute value is always the non-negative distance of the number from 0. In other words, dito kung titingnan natin yung ating non-negative distance, there is no distance that is having a negative value. always yan siya positive. Next, to solve x, absolute value x minus 2 is equal to 5. You must consider what? Consider that the absolute value equation split into two cases, di ba? Kasi yung ating p dito or yung ating constant is positive. So meaning, may split natin siya sa dalawang version. We have the positive and the negative version. To solve x plus 3 is equal to 7 is still the same, okay? We split this one because meron tayong positive na p or constant. So we have x plus 3 is equal to 7. Therefore, that gives us x is equal to 4. And we have x plus 3 is equal to negative 7. That gives us x is equal to negative 10. Next, 2x minus 4 is equal to 10. So, gaya lang to ng x plus, absolute value x plus 3, ano, is equal to 7. Positive din ng 10, so we are going to split this one out. So, again, pag nag-split natin, you have 2x minus 4 is equal to 10. Gives us x is equal to 7. So, sir, paano naging nangyari yun? Kasi, yung negative 4, pag nilabas natin, papunta kay 10, magiging positive. So, you have 14. Since yung x natin has a 2, so we have to eliminate the 2 dun sa x. So we divide both equation by 2. That's why 14 divided by 2 is 7. The same also true with 2x minus 4 is equal to negative 10. Pag nilagay natin yung negative 4 sa kabila, magiging positive 4 yan. So negative 10 plus 4, we have negative 6. Again, divided by 2 to eliminate the 2 on the x. So mahitabo, ang mangyayari is magkakaroon tayo ng x is equal to negative 3. The solution of absolute value x, okay, less than 5 is written as. Ito, I want you to grasp your notes and to analyze this one properly. It is also show na pag ganito ang nangyari, meaning ang value ng x natin is nasa in between, okay? The two x coordinates na meron tayo. Since this is within 5 units from 0 in both direction, therefore, this is x is greater than negative 5 but less than 5. Next, still the same pa rin, ano? The absolute value of x minus 1 less than or equal to 4. Still the same din yung process natin sa una. Okay? So dito, i-try natin, split natin, negative 4 and positive 4. And then, yung 1 natin is ilabas natin. Yung pag negative 1, ilalabas natin on the other both equation, lumalabas ang value ng negative mahimong positive. So meaning negative 4 plus 1 and you have 4 plus 1. So therefore, the value of x should be x is greater than or equal to negative 3 but less than or equal to positive 5. Next, solve x plus 2 absolute value of greater than 6. Also, ito iba naman ang magiging scenario nito. It gives us that x plus 2, pag nilagay natin, mahimo na siyang this is x is greater than 4, x plus 2 and then negative 6 pa rin, magiging negative x na or less than, x is less than to negative 8. So, that will be the value na meron tayo. Why does the equality absolute x value, absolute value of x is greater than or equal to 3 result in two separate rays instead of one continuous interval? Bakit kaya sineseparate natin? Kasi the distance from at least 3 from 0 can happen if in the positive or negative direction, creating two rays. So, yan yung sinasabi ko na pagdating dito, kasi yung isa negative infinity, papunta dun sa negative infinity, yung isa naman papunta sa positive infinity. That makes that the problem creating two rays at the same time. Now, we are now in measured position. Dito, medyo madali lang tayo. We have the quartile, decile, percentile, and outliers. Okay? Simple lang to. Quartile divide a rank data set in how many equal parts. Pag sinabi natin quartile, that is now split rank data into 4 equal parts. But the quartile hinanap lang natin or the boundaries is actually quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3. The same also true with this problem. Decile divide the rank data sets into what? Into 10 equal parts. But, ang decile natin is being in the boundary na meron tayo from decile 1 hanggang decile 9. The same also true with this another problem na meron tayo. Dito sa problem na to, you must be more on observation na lang. Bakit? Kasi you don't need to solve this one. Kasi ang sinasabi dito, given the rank data 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, find the median. Pag sinabi natin median, ito yung gitna ng data na meron tayo. So simply count, again, if you have two fingers here, you point your finger on the left side and on the right side and sabay mong igalaw yan. So kung igagalaw natin, lumalabas na ang ating middle is 8. Okay? With 7 values, the median is the fourth value. Okay? That is equal to. In a class of 40 students, a score is at 75th percentile. About how many students scored o at or below this score? So, ano ibig sabihin ng 75th percentile? 75th percentage of 40 students equals 30 students score at or below that score. Ibig sabihin, from 0 papunta doon sa 75%, that is 30 students are dun yung rate ng mga estudyante nakakuha ng ganong klaseng score. Okay? The 30 students scored at or below that score. In a box and whisker plot, a box represent what? So pag sinabi natin box whiskers, the box spans from upper quartile to lower quartile. Ibig sabihin, nandudun lang siya sa quartile 1 to quartile 3, which contain the middle or the, tinatawag natin yung median. So tatlo yung makikita natin sa box, ano? The lower quartile, the upper quartile, and the middle of the data. Okay? The interquartile range is IQR is calculated as what? It is actually calculated as quartile 3 subtract to quartile 1. So the spread of the middle is in 50% of the data. So dito natin kinukuha yung IQR natin. Next, a data set has quartile 1 to 80 and a quartile 3 of 40. A value of 65 is being checked as a possible outlier using 1.5 multiplied by IQR rule. Which computation correctly check this? So ano bang computation yan? Since this is 65, notice ang value is 65, ang quartile 3 natin is 40, ang quartile 1 natin is, ang quartile 1 is our lower fence, okay? At yung ating quartile 3 is our upper fence. So since kinumpute natin where IQR natin is quartile 3 subtract to quartile 1, lumalabas na yung value natin na 65 is greater than quartile 3 plus 1.5 multiplied by the IQR. Meaning, meron tayong upper outlier na lumalabas dito. Okay? Next. Class A has a smaller IQR than Class B. What can you conclude? Tatandaan natin, the IQR is direct, it can easily implies na the lower the quartile or the IQR means the middle 50% of score are packed closer together. So, ibig sabihin, mas madali siyang ma-identify na, ito consistent to. Bakit? Kasi nandoon lang siya, mababa lang yung IQR niya. Pag malaki kasi ang IQR, lumalabas na masyadong spread yung mga data natin. At mahirap hanapin kung ano yung range ng mga tao in between on the IQR itself. Okay? Next. A student score higher than 45 out of 50 classmates. What is the student percentile rank? Simple-simple lang to . You have to divide 45 divided by 50. Multiply mo sa 100%, therefore you have 90th percentile. So if you are confused on this, you can use your calculator with you habang nakikinig dito. Next, a score is at the 40th percentile rank. What does this tells you about the score? Pag sinabi natin 40th percentile rank, it is below the 50th. It is below on the median. So ano ibig sabihin? A percent rank tells what percent of score fall or at below that score. So ibig sabihin yung 40th% from 0 to 40th percentile rank, yun lang yung tinitingnan natin na basis. So, labas na tayo pag umabot siya ng 41st up to 99%. Next, a student score is at 20th percentile. Is this student performing well compared to classmate? I don't think so. Why? Pag sinabi mo kasing 20th percentile, it means that nasa lower part siya. Yung batang yan is nasa mababa. A low percentile rank means most classmates scored higher sa kanya. This is below average performance. Okay? Next. A teacher was to identify weak performers in a class to design intervention plan. Which measures of position would be most useful for this purpose? Ano ba ang dapat? Siyempre, the student scoring at a below Q1, the lowest quartile, which is 25%, are the one most likely needing intervention. Siyempre, kung gusto mong malaman at gusto mong makatulong sa mga batang nahihirapan, especially in mathematics, you are dealing with the 25% para at least yung mga nahihirapan, eh, may angat nila yung score nila.